Hi, I'm Vicky Parfano. Welcome to my studio. Today I have some fun projects for you and I hope you join me in this artistic journey. We're going to be making some cards and a framed piece that we can sell. And I'll show you how I package my work and how I created these abstract artworks. So gather your supplies and play along. We're going to have some fun today. I thought I'd do an art haul today and an unboxing of what's come from Amazon. So let's have a look. We'll take out what's in this bag first. I've already opened the others up and taken them out of their boxes. So let's see what we have. So first of all, I've reordered some speedball journals and I'm just going to move that out a little bit so you can see more. There we go. Now you can see what I've got here. Okay, so we've got the Field watercolour journal and I also have another handbook journal, which is the beautiful linen covered journal. This is a really nice art journal. The first one is beautiful too. The pages in this are super thick and it's spiral bound. It's perfect for, I'll just show you what I've been doing in this one. It's perfect for putting your art prints into. So if you have gel prints or something like that, it's perfect for that. So I'm going to need more of those because I'm loving making these prints on my gel plate. So I've got another one of those. This one here, it's 24 pages, 6 inches by 6 inches. This is 200 GSM, so not quite as thick, but still an excellent book for art journaling in. It has a beautiful linen cover. It has a strap across there. It has a little bookmark inside of it. And it has 60 pages. So there's more pages in this. And because it doesn't have the ring binder, it opens up nice and flat into a wide spread. So that's a new art journal. And I've bought some paints today. I have the Liquitex Professional Heavy Body Acrylic, the 24 set. So the colours in this set, I'm just going to show you up here, are really lovely. So yellow light Hansa, yellow medium azo, cadmium free yellow medium, cadmium free orange, naphthol red light, quinacridone crimson, light pink brilliant purple, dioxazine purple, ultramarine blue red shade, Prussian blue hue, cerulean blue hue, light blue permanent, phthalo green blue shade, vivid lime green, yellow oxide, raw sienna, burnt umber, unbleached titanium, titanium white, Payne's grey, ivory black, iridescent bright silver, and iridescent bright gold. So, hoo-wee, this is going to be fantastic. They're smaller size, they're not the huge ones, but I like buying the smaller size. I can test them out and see which colours I'm using up first and then replace with a larger size tube. And I've also got the Liquitex Basics Acrylics 48 piece. These are for my gel printing and I'm probably going to use a couple of these today. I'll open a few for my artwork that I'm doing. Just a little bit of acrylic paint here and there. And these are fabulous. I'll show you the colours on the back. 48 beautiful colours, and it has a silver, gold, bronze and copper as well. So I'll open those in a moment and use a couple in my work that I'm doing. I also have the Tonic Studios Tim Holtz Decal Edge, and I'm going to open that now and make some decal edges for the cards I'm making today. So let's have a look at this. So it's a decal edge cutter and I'm going to cut up some paper ready for making 4 cards today. So I have my Canson XL watercolour paper and I'm going to make 4 cards out of 2 sheets of this, and I'm also going to decal the edge of the envelope. So I'm going to cut those up now. I'm going to open this while I'm here because I can't wait. Get into this, and these bottles are just so cute. They look great in staging shots too, these little cute bottles. You can fit a lot of colours in. So let's get into these little cutie pies. Here they are. So there's like 4 strips of them. Cool. All right. Look at these cute colours, and how adorable are the size of these tubes. They're just so cute. Okay. But for now, I want to use my decal edge and set up on my backing sheet. Is the backing sheet from my Fabriano Artistico 100% cotton pad, which is now empty, and that means it's ready to become a backing sheet in its new life. So keep these backing sheets from all your watercolour pads. They make fantastic sheets for masking off your work and keeping it nice and flat. And I hope a whole bunch of goodies here that I'm going to get into later with the projects that we're doing. I've got some Neocolor 2s, I've got some acrylic inks, I've got some Inktense pencils here, I've got my Daniel Smith paints. And I'm going to show you how I make an art piece that can also be sent as a greeting card. So it's a 2-for-1 deal. It's 12 inches by 9 inches. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut it at 6 inches. So that'll give me the shape for 2 cards. So you want to slide it in under this guard here. You don't want to put it like this. It's going to not work. And you've got to hold this guard. Otherwise, you'll find your paper will slide. So I have used these before in some craft lessons with other people. And I know that they work really well if you follow the directions. So we want 6 inches exactly. I'm going to put my hands here and I'm going to cut. And that's this beautiful deckled edge that we're going to have, which I think is going to look stunning on a watercolour card. So now I just want to decal all the edges. So I'm going to decal this side, the main side first. So to do that, I just want a hair's breadth. I don't want to lose a lot of my paper there. Just want to make sure that it's just a hair that gets chopped off. Hold the plastic and look how nice that is. A little wedge there. Nice and straight. So we've got 2 straight edges here. Now we've got to do the other 2 edges. And then I can remeasure because it's going to be slightly less than it was before because we've cut some little tiny bits off. So I want to make sure I get the halfway mark for scoring it in the exact place. So there's all 4 sides deckled. Looking really great. They're really nice quality. They have a really nice flap on the back, but I'm going to make it even nicer. So it's a bit of a curvy flap. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut, excuse those birds. Can you hear the cockatoos? They're absolutely noisy out there. I think they're about to find their nest. Sorry about that. I'm just going to cut a decal off here, but we want to make sure we leave some of the tape line here. So let's decal 4 envelopes. So for this, it's slightly different. I'm going to line up at the top and I'm going to pull back until I've just got a slight edge there. I'm going to trim this off. Wow, look how beautiful. Ooh, look at that. Wowee. It's slightly less than 9 inches on this side for scoring. So we've got just a hair's breadth. So I would say go to 4.5 and then slightly tuck under that. And that should give me a perfect, because it's watercolour paper, I work pretty hard at making that bend. And that looks really good. So these are the three techniques I want to use. I want to use stamps and I want to use masking fluid. So I have my masking fluid in a pen, which is this Molotow, which is fantastic. That's really easy to use. I have some stamps here. I have my stamp set up and I have an alcohol lift pen. I'm going to be using those three specifically. Now let's get into it. I'm going to be using the Art Nouveau set and I'm going to choose some colours that I really like, blues and greens. So we're going to go with maybe and definitely turquoise. So we've got those three colours. And now I want to choose a pink. So I think I'd like a nice coral pink up here. Just want a bit of pink to go with that, just to break it up. So you've got some cool colours and then you've got a warm colour as a contrast. So there's my colours. Looking pretty good. We've got billiard green, cobalt turquoise light, pea green and coral pink. And I think these are just going to look absolutely beautiful together. I'm going to take my mop brush and plenty of water. And I want to get some masking that way, and I want to get some this way. Now while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm going to show you some of the other things I've got. So I've got my stamps over here. I've got my stamps ready to go. I've got my VersaFine Clear. This is a pigment ink, so it's waterproof. Put that on there. The stencils that I've got. So I've got some interesting looking stencils here. I have these little doilies, which I think would make a nice mark. And then I've got some Punchinella, and this is a Stampin' Up. Maybe some Neo Color 2s. Might throw those into the mix, and maybe a little bit of ink. And I'm just going to try and do them all in a different order. So these are looking kind of original. Maybe go this way. And this is intuitive painting, so you don't have to think too hard about it. And I'm going to rinse that out. Now while that's still wet, I want to bring in some of my turquoise. I want to get right to the edges, but I don't want to cover up all the white. I'm going to actually intentionally leave a little bit of negative space in here. A little bit down there. Okay, now bring in some of that pink. And I know this is dangerous because we could get a bit of mud here, but we'll see. The Genzo Tambi colours don't really turn to mud that much. Get some of this down. And the colours going. And then I want to bring in, before we get too much of this on, I want to bring in this billiard green, which is really beautiful dark color. It's really dark and luscious, and I like to get the edges because we've taped off the edges, but I'm happy to leave some areas in the center, a little bit of negative space in there. We want to go over where our masking is, otherwise it's not going to be effective. You're not going to see the masked areas. A little bit of negative space, so it's not all completely covered up. But I want the edges to be clean, so I'm trying to get to the edges and corners as much as I can. While it's still wet, I'm going to try laying some things into the paint. I'm going to lay that one in. This is quite wet here. I'm going to lay that one in and see if we can get that to dry. I'm going to lay some punchinella on this one. Just going to grab my barren and I'm just going to roll across that, kind of to make a print. And I picked up a little bit of paint on there. Let's see what happens with that. Oh, look at that. Fantastic. That's exactly what I wanted. And I'm going to add a bit more down here too. Roll that in. And this one, I'm going to go this way. Rolling that in, and we get some textures on this one too. Just roll that on. Ah, look at that nice texture. It looks fantastic. Okay, this one's not showing up so well. I want a bit more texture down here. I'll flip it over onto the other side. Yes. And I'm going to lift off the stencil because I don't want that to really dry on there. Oh yeah, got some shapes there. Grab my palette knife and grab this off. I really don't want finger marks on it. That's not too bad. This one went really well. Let's try putting it somewhere else. And try putting this one somewhere else too. This has got a bit of green on it. Oh, I'm going to wet this down again, see if we can get something up here. So I've got green paint on it. And roll it on. Get a nice print happening there. Wow, look at that. See how this one's going. Yeah, so we've got some nice patterns there. Oh, loving that. So that's just from paper doilies. So yeah, great. I'm going to leave them and use them again. They're great. Now I'm just letting this dry a little bit and you can see how these have come out. This has come out really nice. It's still a little bit damp. While it's still a bit damp, I want to add a little bit of ink. So I have teal acrylic ink. This one, I want it quite solid. This one could do with a little bit of like really busy stuff all around it. And I want a bit more on this one. And a little bit more here. Don't want to cover too much up. I want it to kind of look a bit scratchy, and that's probably enough, I think. Sort of moving around there, that's good. I don't think I'll use any white ink. Maybe I will, I don't know. It's hard to know. Just put a little bit down. Just drag that through. A little bit of extra. I think we're going to have a lot of white in here with our masking tape, so I don't want to overdo the white, just little bits here and there. So that's looking really nice. I'm really liking that a lot. While that's drying, I want to add my alcohol blending pen. I'm going to keep this away from the ink. Just put it on places where it's quite dark. So you can see on this one that it really, that was in very wet paint and it will spread. Now I want to come in and I'm actually going to, because we've got the VersaFine brown, I'm actually going to add brown in, which sounds counterintuitive, but I'm just going to put little bits in here and there. A bit of scribble. Because I want the stamps to look as though they're intentional. But emerald green I really like, and I'm going to draw some lines like this and put some in like this. And going to have some going this way on this one. A few up on here. I'm going to keep the same. These are like shapes. I'm going to do it once. I'm going to do it at least twice. I'm going to bring this in and add into the browns. I'm going to join these up. And the blue, I don't think we need the blue. I mean, it's a good match to the turquoise, but I think we've got enough going on at the moment. We've still got to get our stamps on. So I've let all this dry, and I'm not going to peel the tape off. I need to get the masking tape off. So for that, I have this pickup eraser, which is absolutely filthy. I've just ordered some more from Amazon. I've had this, I figured out I've had this for about 15 years. That's why it's so dirty. Let's see if it can actually do the job. And look, it still works. So I'm just going to go, and if you didn't have one of these, you can also use a sand eraser, which is one of these. But these are a bit rougher than this. This is softer when you feel it. This has got quite a toothy edge to it. You've just got to be careful that you don't damage the paper with this one. So I think the pickup eraser is actually better. I'm going to use that. So you can see this blue, which is our masking pen, which is this one here. This is starting to come off and reveal the white paper underneath. And this is giving us that negative space that is so key in this style of abstract work. I have some little pieces of gold paper here. I'm going to add these as collage. This is a chiyogami paper, which is a Japanese style of paper. You can buy this on Amazon. And I'll have the links below for all the things that I've been using today. There's another little piece under there. So I've cut them into tiny little pieces. Here's a bigger piece, sort of like rough rectangles. This is the paper here, and this is what I've cut it from. So this is chiyogami, and it's 10 sheets, 2 colors, gold and silver. So it's gold on one side and it's silver on the other. So this would work nicely with some silver on it if I didn't have the yellow in there, but I want to pick up this yellow, so I'm using the gold. And by happy accident, this is what happens. Sometimes you discover something that you didn't even know was possible. I actually spilt a little bit of my blending pen onto this. The cap wasn't on quite tight. And look at what happens when you use a blending pen on this chiyogami paper. It becomes this beautiful kind of, I don't know, what would you call that? Sort of antique looking design. So I'm going to experiment with this further. I like that idea. But for now, I'm going to save up those rectangles for after we've done the final stamping and the final stencil. These are almost ready to go. And I love this part. It's like uncovering the final layers. Even though this was the very first layer that came down, it's kind of the last one that we bring up. And I love it. I love this white. And I can't wait to get this tape off. It's going to look fabulous. So the first thing I'm going to do with stamping is to turn my rubber stamp upside down. This is just a flower stamp. Any sort of a floral image that you've got would work for this. Give it a bit of a press across. Make sure that there's no over stamping along the edges. And I'm just going to commit to a space that I think will look good. So I think on this one I'm going to go here, and I'm going to deliberately stamp off to the edge so that I'm not getting the entire impression Just pressing down, leaving it to sit for a moment. It's got to go through quite a few layers there with ink and watercolour. Let's see what we get. Perfect. And I'm going to do the same image off to the side in all of these, but I'm going to change the orientation from landscape to portrait and portrait back to landscape again. And I'm not going to do it in the same spot in each of them. This one I'm just going to have, I'm looking for a space. It's not the entire stamp, it's just a little bit of the image. Then this one, I think I'm going to do an image here. And I want to do one off to the side so we can have a portrait card. And I think it's going to be this one here, and it's going to be off to this edge. There's a space there. I love bees and I love birds in my imagery, and I try and incorporate them into as many places as I can when I'm doing a piece. And this just gives you a focal point. And sometimes in abstract art, the focal point is what really carries the show. So, looking for a space here. I think here might be good. Just that little bee and the little sprig of flowers. And this one I'm going to have the bee right at the top, almost flying off the scene. Oh wow, look at that. Yummy, yummy, yummy. And I have this hanging on my wall here. This is a piece. But this piece is one that I made using honeybees, and I had some honeybee stamps. I made their wings three-dimensional out of some tracing paper, architect's tracing paper that I had stamped over the top of. And you can see the dimension in this. I hand embossed all of those shapes, and I used watercolour crayons to get the effect of the colour on them. And this is one of my favourite works. I really do like this one. I'll just show you the whole thing. You can see it up close. You can see the little bodies have some glossy glue over the top of them, so they have a bit of shine. When you see it up close, it's pretty special. That's the whole piece. You can almost get it in the shot, almost. There we are. So I'm very inspired by bees, and I'm also inspired by birds. Birds and the bees, haha, pretty cool. So I think I'm just going to go straight in with a little bit of gold. So with the gold, I want to mimic these little rectangles of Chiagami paper that I've cut out and that I'm going to place around the card. So for my gold, I'm going to use some gold paint. This is Liquitex Basics Gold, and I'm just going to use that through the stencil, and that's going to mimic these little shapes. So I'm going to squeeze this out into a little dish. It's just pure paint, no water added, and I just want to be able to pick that up with a sponge and dab it through this little stencil. This is a Stampin' Up stencil, I think. It is, yes. Just in various places. You can see there. And I'm going to move it around a bit. Back and forwards. Nice. And where there's these intersections, I'm going to add the gold, a little bit of gold. Whoosh! I love that. Love it. This little area here. And I like this little spot up here too. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. For some reason there's some bright blue there. I think that might be masking fluid. It looks like masking fluid. Nope. We'll cover it up anyway. That's a bit I don't like. So if there's anywhere you're thinking, oh, I might cover that a little bit, this is the way to do it. And I'm tending to go where the masking fluid is to break up that line somewhat. I love it, but I want to break it up a little bit. Like that. This one could do with a bit more breaking up of the line. I'm not going over anywhere I've stamped because I want that to remain a clear image. Just till I'm happy with the look of it. A little bit more on the white. Up here is quite busy, so let's calm that down. Oh, that looks really good. I'm liking that. I'm going to go over that really dark blue, which means it'll show up better. Wow, looking great. So all that's left is my Chiogami paper, but I'm going to take the tape off before I place that on because I want to see what this looks like. And I am so excited to see the tape reveal. Let's bring it in and have a look at the reveal. You can see, I'll bring it up and show you how that looks. You can see this. Whoa. There's a lot going on, but that's because there's a lot of tape that hasn't been pulled off yet. So once we pull the tape off, it's going to quieten everything down. So let's do the tape reveal. So I'm squeezing it off into some clear water and just dabbing at it. So a little bit of paint has gone under. That's okay. That will happen from time to time. It's watercolour. It's what watercolour does. It likes to travel. If it's wet, it'll travel and go to where the wetness is. But that's cleaned that up quite nicely. So there's, how good is that? That tape release was really clean on this one. Look how clean those edges are. And the subtle gold. And a little bit of half a stamp rather than a full stamp. And it's disappearing off to the edge and the bottom, which means it doesn't steal the show. It's just a part of the composition now. Look at those lovely deckled edges. Move this away, we don't need that. In fact, we'll put a piece of white paper underneath, which will show that up a bit better. So here they are. So interesting. I'm just trying to pick which one I like the best. I honestly think that this is my favorite. I really do like it. So let's get our little Chiogami rectangles on. So I'm going to use liquid glue. This is my favorite glue for all sorts of paper crafting. I love rice glue too, but it's much more expensive. This one's also got a little detailed tip. So you can just put it on where you want it to go. I'm going to put it directly on my piece. And this dries clear, so you don't have to worry too much about it showing up. But I do want it to stick firmly. And I want it to be straight. And I want it to play off those. Look at that. Play off these three here. Move it across a bit, it's a bit too close to them. See how you can move it around? It doesn't matter because it's not going to leave any marks on your card. Just dab it off with tissue, any excess. Look at that. I think I'd like to put something right here. Just seeing where the composition goes, and this time it's going to be and I like 3. I like to have 3 of anything in my painting. I'm thinking there's a bit of space over here. I'm going to put it not right on the edge, I'm going to put it about there. So dab some glue on, pick up your piece. I'm going to use the little one this time. Pop it on. And I just want to make sure that it's straight. So straighten it up a bit if you can. Clean off the glue. You can see how that's just added, and it complements. It's a little bit crooked. I'm just going to fix it so it's not quite so crooked. There we go. Better. How it complements the soft gold in there as well. Wow, loving that one. That one I think is great. I love it. Okay, and we've got 2 in landscape. Just using small scissors, and it's just simple to cut. Cut it into strips. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. A little bit of wonky makes it even cuter. I have some bigger strips on these. I think that's about as large as I want to go. I don't want to go any bigger than that, and I want some smaller ones. So mixing up the sizes, some of them are more square than rectangle. And just put these on. It tends to be, the sweet spot is 3 of these, and have some going one direction, some going the other direction, some right at the edge and some closer into the middle. That's a little bit crooked. You can wiggle it around. Look at that. Oh yeah, this one's still a little crooked. I'm going to move it down just slightly, and you get a little bit of wiggle room with these. How cool. How cool. Looks great. Look at that. Look at the shine. Woo! And it's something you really look into to see what's there. I love how this brown in the background coloured the body of the bee. And that's that one. This one I like too. All of these 3 I really like. This is the one that, you know, it's still okay, but that's really spoiled it. Now, if you really want to try and fix it, you can. And fold it over. And you kind of want to make sure you can't see where the edge is. I can see there's a little bit of dirt on here. I want to get that off. So we brought this one back from the brink. Look at that. You cannot see there was a tear there to begin with. Get some clear water and just clean up that edge. Pull that off, a little bit on the back. Sometimes you get little bits on it that need to get cleaned up, and that's okay. It's art. It's not meant to be perfect. So we've rescued that piece and I'm liking it. It just needs its chiogami so that it'll match up with the others. And put some here. Sometimes I like them in the corner, sometimes I like them off to the edge, and I only want 3. You know, it's one of those things where I have certain things I like to do in art, and I want this to look like something that I have made. I really like that area over there. I don't want to mess with that. I really like this here. I'm looking at something where I can put it so that it's long. I think I'll bring it down from the top like that. And I'll push it right up. That's near the top. And push it down with a tissue. Aha, there we go with this one. So this is finished. So I just have a small frame here. You cannot hang it, but you can stand it up. And because it stands up this way, I'm going to choose this one, which will fit in there really nicely. I'm just going to open up the frame. Being very careful, pull that out. Cut the back off it, because it's going into a frame, it's not a card. And like that. I'm going to chop that off. There, same again, and up on the side, and like that. So we've cut that down. I'm going to check what it looks like in the frame. Looks great. And I want to sign on the bottom. So all it's needed is a signature along the bottom right hand corner, which I'll do now. Signature. So when you've got it exactly where you want to, this is where you get your masking tape and add tape there. On the side here where there's a space to put that. That's pretty good. Now check it. You can see it's just a little bit too high on this side, so this is why the tape's important. A little crooked on that end. And perfect. Perfect. That's exactly how I want it. That's in the right spot. I'll press the ends down. And here it is framed. You can see the gold in there. It's really quite shiny. It's really quite nice. So the others, these are going to be sold as cards. To sign them in the right orientation. And this one goes that way. So this means when somebody opens them up, they can tell immediately which way they are facing. So they're all landscapes. We have our nice envelopes with the decals. And I have, these are from Kmart, but you can get these pretty much anywhere. I buy them wherever I see them. And these are the perfect size for these cards. So you want this piece to fold over the back. So the front of the card is going to come in this way. And I like to show the nice deckled edge at the back of the envelope. Then I like to move this up just a little bit. So we've got half and half. There we go, that looks better. See how that looks better? Okay, and then just pull off the tape. Nice and tight. You don't want it moving around. There's your card ready for sale. You can still see all the lovely things through it. People can pick it up and it doesn't get dirty. There's your card ready for sale.